Hello fellow geeks and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I'm glad you're here. It's time for another episode in our series, New Runner 101. These are the most frequently asked questions that I see new runners ask when I'm stumbling through Facebook groups and different forums and things like that. So I thought that since there are a lot of the same questions that I had when I was first starting to run, I would answer them with some of the advice and information that I've gotten over the past few years. If you're a new runner or if you're just new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button below so that you don't miss any of the running content that I have coming out regularly. And now that you've done that, let's take a look at two more questions that come up frequently. When will I be ready to race? And when exactly will this running start to feel good? Let's start with that second question first. When will running start to feel good? Let's be honest, running is hard work. It just is. But the more you do it, the easier it gets, just like anything else in life. I've been preaching on and on about getting and staying consistent, and that's what's going to help make running be easier for you if you are just starting out. Make sure that you are maintaining a consistent schedule. You'll notice that it will be a gradual change. All of a sudden, one day you'll look and say, hey, I did this a little bit faster, or hey, I went a little bit farther today. That's the thing about any type of exercise, is that you tend to see gradual changes and you don't notice until one day you look back at where you came from and realize that your speed has increased, your endurance has increased, and you've just made more positive changes. Does this mean that bad runs are going to go away forever? Absolutely not. I've been doing this for about almost 6 years now, and occasionally, yes, I will have a bad run. I'll feel tired, maybe my legs will start cramping, my head just isn't in the game, I feel like I'm forcing myself to do it. So yeah, bad runs happen. But you'll find that the more you run, the more the good runs will start to outnumber the bad runs. Maybe when you first start out, the majority of them are bad runs. Again, that's because running is just hard. But if you want to put the time and effort into it, those bad runs are going to start to become fewer and fewer, and more of them will be good runs. The bottom line is, don't give up before it becomes fun. You'll find that as your body gets used to it, it will get easier, and that's when the fun starts. That's when the magic happens. And once you've reached that point, you'll start to wonder about our second question here. When should I do my first race? First of all, make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to acclimate yourself to running. Don't start running and within a week think you can tackle a 5K. In fact, if you look at most Couch to 5K apps, they're going to be around 10 to 12 weeks because that's about how long it takes you to safely train to do 3.1 miles. Those apps do a really good job of getting the right amount of training and spreading it out over a decent amount of time. If you'd like more information on Couch to 5K apps, I'm going to have a link up here and down in the description where I talk a lot about different Couch to 5K apps so you can kind of get an idea of what's available out there. But whether you choose to do an app or an online training plan or just pick a friend's brain and see what they think about it and you start doing training with them, maybe with a coach, whatever route you choose to take, once you're trained and you're ready, look for a local 5K. I say local because it makes it a little bit easier on you in that local races tend to be a little more low-key. You tend to be more familiar with the area that you're going to be running, and it lets you tap into the local running community. You'll get to know other runners that live in your area. If that's not a possibility, because let's face it, races are still being canceled a lot right now, you can look into a virtual option. There are plenty of sites available that offer virtual races. Even some of the in real life races will offer a virtual option for a 5K, 10K, half, or even full marathon. A quick look at Running in the USA will give you a whole lot of different options for things that are in your area. And if you go with a virtual option, you can still choose to run in the area where you do your training and exercise, or maybe even on a treadmill if the weather's not cooperating with you that day. The important thing is, once you finish that first race, take a minute to gauge how you feel. Were you happy with it? Was it absolute torture to try to get through? Do you feel like maybe you could go a little bit further and you're ready to step up to a 10K training program? Do you think that maybe you would like to stick with 5K and you would like to try to do it a little bit faster? There's lots of options once you finish that first race. If you're still unsure about how to choose your first race, I'm going to link to a video here that I did earlier about things to consider when you're trying to figure out which race to run. So there's a couple more questions answered. If you're a new runner and you have any questions that you would like answered, be sure to drop them down in the comments below so I can take a look at them. If you'd like to catch up on the previous videos in this series, make sure that you check down in the description box and check at the end of this video. I'm going to have a link to the playlist with all of the videos in this series. Why don't you follow me on social media? I'll have all the links down below. You can find me across most platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so glad to be a part of your new running journey, and I can't wait to see you next time. Happy running! That's the thing about running, is that it's